Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Eliza Sperling, and I am the director of HerTorah. HerTorah is a project of SVIVAH. SVIVAH is about creating a more nourishing communal faith experience for Jewish women, where we define Jewish and women very broadly. If you want to be with us, we want you with us, and welcome. We love that we are multi-generational and diverse in background and affiliations. We come together in celebration and support of women, our strengths, our unique perspectives, and our ways of contributing to the world. I am the director of HerTorah, which is a project of SVIVAH. HerTorah gathers together a diverse community of Jewish women to connect over our shared heritage, explore our collective wisdom, and elevate our communal experience in learning with and from one another. Usually, or at least pre-COVID, we got together in person. During COVID, we've been getting together on Zoom. We try to talk to one another. We try to connect with one another. It's one of the special things about HerTorah is that we try to bring together women who would otherwise not meet each other, or not have a chance to have deep conversations with one another. Thank you to everyone who makes HerTorah possible, to Ariella Mortkowitz and SVIVAH, to Yeshivat Maharat for your partnership in raising the bar for excellence in Torah scholarship, and a big thank you to the Aviv and Covenant Foundations for their faith in HerTorah to create a unique way of learning in community. This month of Elul, we're doing something a little different. Instead of bringing everybody together on the screen, we're going to have two of us in conversation on screen, and we'll send it to you wherever you may be for your August. We are going to have a series of conversations with wonderful educators, leaders, and pastoral presences, people who will help us realize that actually it is just a month before Rosh Hashanah, and help us figure out how to get ourselves ready for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Please take a minute to sign up for the SVIVAH email list at www.svivah.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram so that you don't miss any of these phenomenal speakers. We can't wait for you to meet them. And today, I'm so excited to introduce you to the fabulous Rabbi Marianne Novak. Rabbi Novak received her smicha, rabbinic ordination, from Yeshivat Maharat in 2019. She served her rabbinic internships at the Hebrew Institute of Riverdale and Congregation Netivot Shalom in Teaneck, New Jersey. Rabbi Novak has been on the faculty of the Melton School of Adult Jewish Learning for over 25 years. Additionally, she has served as Gabait for the Skokie Women's Tefillah Group and has prepared numerous young women for their bat mitzvah celebrations for this group. Rabbi Novak writes a popular blog on the Times of Israel, has served as scholar in residence and lecturer at various congregations, and taught Tanakh at Rochelle Zell Jewish High School. Rabbi Novak received her BA cum laude from Barnard College and her JD from Washington University School of Law in St. Louis. This fall, Rabbi Novak will be joining the Judaic Studies staff at Akiva Schechter Jewish Day School. A fifth-generation Chicagoan. Wow, I didn't know that. Rabbi Novak lives with her husband, Noam Stadlan, and family in Skokie, Illinois. We are so happy to have you with us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Wonderful. So, Rabbi Novak, I hope you are going to help us get in the mood for Rosh Hashanah, for Yom Kippur, for what is sometimes very scary set of holidays. When we really start to think very seriously about where we are, where we want to be, maybe some choices that we're not so happy with, and thinking about the places, who we are meant to be and what we are meant to do. And to start off, I was hoping that maybe you could share with us a story from your own life about a time when you changed direction. We might want to call that had a teshuva experience.
This is a story of when I was in law school and in St. Louis, and I was coming from New York, and I was coming to St. Louis as this very entitled, what I thought was sophisticated and well-knowing New Yorker, and I needed a car. And to get a car was somewhat, at the time, a cumbersome process. So I got the car, but I had to get it registered. And registration was just, I had to go to 2 different places. Now, St. Louis in the summer, I was there at the end of August getting ready to start for school, is usually 95 degrees with 90% humidity for about 4 months.
Wow.
So if you're not used to that, it only adds to the stress and some degree of uncomfortability and also some anxiety that I had. I was in a new town, I was starting a new school, all those kind of things. And I, being the sophisticated New Yorker that I was, thought that the process was just ridiculous. I said, you had to go 2 different places. It's hot. I didn't know exactly where it was going. And I came into one, the DMV, one part of the DMV, and I let a clerk know in very strong terms about how I thought this was absolutely ridiculous. Now, my experience in New York was if you had a beef with a clerk, you'd scream at the clerk would scream at you, and eventually you would come to some sort of understanding at the end. So I am just not having a very good day. I am not being respectful to this woman, and I started really just laying into her. And she stopped me in mid-sentence and said, "Honey, are you having a bad day?" And at that moment, it was really a kind of moment of embarrassment. First, I was embarrassed. And then I had a real realization that, when you come out with anger in that way, when things are not right in your life and dump it on everybody else, it's nothing to do with them, but they're not meant to be the receivers of your anger. You need to understand what's going on and bring that in check. That if you're really going to do work on yourself, first and foremost, you have to see how you're treating other people. And that was a huge aha moment afterwards. And what made it even worse is that I had to go to another place to get something stamped and come back and see her again. And she asked me if I was feeling better. And at least I had a chance to apologize. I said, yes, I am feeling better. And ever since then, when I'm dealing in public behavior, and even especially with people close to you, but especially in public behavior, to not behave in that manner. That kind of abuse only reflects upon yourself, that something is not right in your house. Maybe it was dealing with anxiety or a new place or getting ready to start law school, all those fears and all those things that were just not being addressed fully, just being taken out on this poor clerk at the Division of Motor Vehicles in St. Louis. And it really changed my understanding of things that I need to work on. My patience, my anger, being quick to judge people. These are all the things that if I'm actually going to have a relationship with God, I really need to get those relationships in check before I do anything. And so that teshuva moment kind of incorporated a lot of what I'm thinking about, is that we need to get right with the people around us. We also have to get right with ourselves before we even approach the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And this is a lesson that I try to remember. It's very hot here now in Chicago and around the world. And I remember that moment of this was a turning point in my life to really improve my behavior. And then all my relationships, including my relationship with God, got a whole lot better because it wasn't all about me.
It's really
At that point.
amazing the way, I think those are 7 words. Those 7 words really impacted you in such a significant way.
Yeah. Like I stopped breathing almost. It was just like, oh, can't behave this way anymore. You really can't. It's because it's destructive, and it's most destructive. It would have been most destructive to me more than anybody else. And so that
Yeah.
was my major aha moment. And it was close to Yom Kippur. It was the summer. We were getting, certainly close enough to Elul to kind of do that introspection and thinking about relationships. And I think a lot of people just go to the relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu without kind of looking around and seeing the relationships that they have, and especially the relationship that they have with themselves. Those are the things that need to be put in order. And then you can come before Kadosh Baruch Hu, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu is rooting for you. We have a cheering section that you'll get it right. I was thinking about the Olympics and how all these incredible Olympians were doing these incredible feats with no cheering section. It's like it was
So hard for them.
It was so hard for them. And I think a lot of people feel that when you have to do this work, it's very lonely and you don't have a partner. But you do have a partner. And that's what's so amazing about this time, that as opposed to being scary, it's here's someone who's here. The king is in the field, ready to help you out, help you get your life in order so that you can maintain good relationships with everybody. So these are the things that I was thinking about as far as just like personal tshuva.
That's beautiful. And I just want to clarify for people who might not know Hebrew that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is God, the Holy One, blessed be
Be he, yes.
He. Um, thank you. So I actually have so much to say about that, but I want to be cognizant of our time. I just do want to say that I found sometimes that in my own process, having mantras that I can rely on, like I know a friend of mine, for instance, takes a piece of Adon Olam, the prayer, and she says, "God is with me; I shall not fear." And that just having like certain key sentences that you can rely on sometimes, are you having a bad day? Just kind of remembering those things can be so helpful in a way that I wouldn't have thought they would be.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Like, and this was a long time ago. Let's
Mhm.
just put it this way. It was 29 years ago,
Yeah.
and has stayed with me to this day. And I've used that story in my teaching very often to explain about kind of the dangers of anger. And so if you're trying to improve your personal traits, and that one, I think we've seen, there's a lot to be angry about now. There's a lot to be frustrated with or disappointed with, and it can be a hole that's hard to get out of. And just to kind of take a step back and have some perspective very often it can be life-saving.
Yeah. And along those lines, Rabbi Novak, I wanted to ask you, this has been such a tough year for so many people. And I think last year we said, oh, okay, this Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is going to be different, but next year everything's going to be okay. And now we are into our second year of a Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, deeply affected by COVID. Um, and I wanted to ask you, do you have a piece of Torah that you can share with us that can help sustain us going into this new year?
I do. And I this is Elul, and for a lot of us, know the traditional teaching of the letters of Elul are Ani Ladodi Vidodi Li, which is an acronym for a verse in Shir HaShirim, in Song of Songs. I'm to the beloved, beloved is mine. And so that Elul is a time to really connect with God in the same way of the love and devotion that we see within the lovers in Song of Songs in that moment. But there's a whole bunch of other pasukim that you can use to fill that acronym. And one of them comes from Megillat Esther.
So another verse that you're going to.
Another verse that has Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed, the letters of the month of Elul. And I think it brings another aspect of what we're trying to do here in this month and what we can bring to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and for the rest of the year. And it actually comes from Megillat Esther. Ish l're'ehu matanot le'evyonim. When the Jews celebrated Purim, everyone they did so by sending gifts to one another and presents to the poor. And it's a beautiful idea because the way that they show their devotion to God is by doing acts of kindness to other people. Mm-hmm. And that we feel of Elul very often as being very God heavy. And maybe a little bit daunting, like, how am I going to do this? And the easiest way is just to do a small kindness for another person. It's the easy access point. And we need kindness all the time. We now need it more than ever. And I want to just bring it forward just a little bit. That idea of doing kindness for others also includes doing kindness for ourselves. This has been time where I've seen especially young women and mothers who just feel that they are missing the mark every day because of everything that has, either because they were homeschooling or Zoom school or everything that's been required to them, and just a feeling of utter failure. And the kindness to yourself means that you made it to this year. You're alive, hopefully. Hopefully your family is doing well. and that it's not necessarily lowering your expectations, but making that bar something that you can achieve every single day. And know that if I don't get to it tomorrow, if my child doesn't finish all of her work that's required on Zoom school, or if I don't get to every single thing, it's okay. It's okay. And you have a community, and also God's helping you at this point in time. Like, this is hard, and really just kind of break it down and in one step at a time, and be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. We always talk about self-care, and self-care is important, but really the affection of being kind to yourself, which is very different than, let's say, self-care of going to the spa or getting your nails done or whatever, which I'm all for, don't get me wrong. But but a moment of saying, like, yes, I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to give myself a break and see, instead of looking at everything I might have done wrong, let's look at everything that I know I managed to do during incredible duress and upheaval. If you make it, these are a lot of times it's like strategy of, if I, especially in the beginning of pandemic, if I got out of bed, if I took a shower, if I did daf yomi, if I did a little davening, that was it. Mm-hmm. Check for me. Mm-hmm. That was it. And the expectations were not any greater. And that's the kind of point that I think for us that we also have to, it puts extra pressure, which is not necessary, and really kind of gets in the way of the work that needs to be done. And so if you take that piece of kindness, certainly to other people, that can help you also be kind to yourself. That altruistic point is very good in healing yourself and helping you heal, but really taking it and using it to do that kindness for yourself. And when you can, then you're in a place of peace and calm. And what better way to approach the Kadosh Baruch Hu, to approach God?
It's such a beautiful reframing. I think a lot of people think about this time as being one of very harsh judgment. I did this thing wrong and that thing wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's what Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur should be about. And I love mm-hmm. this reframing of, no, maybe this time should be a time of kindness to yourself, of thinking about all the things you did right.
Yeah.
How amazing would that be for people to be able to enter into this holiday period thinking about, wow, I really had a very successful year in ways A, B, C, and D.
Right. And also that gives you the encouragement to go on. It doesn't mean that you don't look at yourself with things you have to improve. But I think it's very easy for people to slip into the mode of, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Which in the end, ironically, just becomes an exercise in selfishness. It seems it's an ironic kind of, idea. It's all bad because then the focus is all on you. But when you look at what you've done, or the people that are around you, or the relationships that you have, it pulls you out of yourself. And that's the best way to come before a Kadosh Baruch Hu when it's not all about you. It's how to make yourself, your family, and the world a better place. So you can't come from this spot if you're beating yourself up. There's nothing you can really do there, and it won't help you in any way.
What a beautiful message. Thank you so much, Rabbi Novak.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to all our listeners for joining us today. I want to wish you, Rabbi Novak, a Shana Tova.
Thank you.
Happy and healthy new year, in which you spread your Torah, your beautiful Torah, to many, many people. And to everybody who's listening and watching, please go to the SVIVAH website, www.svivah.org, and sign up for our mailing list so that you can get all of these incredible women educators right in your inbox. We hope to see you soon.